Welcome back to Barneyjmusic. My name is Barney. I'm a classical composer and founder-director of Barneyjmusic. In this episode, I'm going to share my experiences as an adjunct professor in America in music. I'm going to talk about pay, working conditions, things that happened that shouldn't have happened, and then at the very end, I will give some solutions. To begin talking about the scandal that is adjunct teaching, I would like to first kind of give an overlay of my beginning as an adjunct teacher. So I had finished my master's at University of California, Santa Barbara, and I tried to make things work after my master's, but what ended up happening is I was working $14 an hour in a call center with a master's in music composition. Absolutely ludicrous, okay? So I ended up having to move back home. And then at home, I worked part-time in a hotel while I tried to get into the teaching network. Okay? So I came back to America after my master's. I briefly worked in Northern California in a call center for $14 an hour with a master's in music composition. So obviously that wasn't going to work out. So I had to move back home. Got some debt, and I came back home. And then I worked part-time in a hotel while I tried to get into the teaching market, okay? I had no teaching experience. I was not giving any TA-ships at my university. There were no positions, okay? So we'll talk about that later. So I had no teaching experience, and I'm also a classical composer. So, it's not like I can teach piano. Like I definitely didn't have a proficiency at that time to teach piano. So I basically could only teach composition, which is amazing, or theory, okay, music theory. So nevertheless, I spent several months, getting all my stuff, all my ducks in a row. I made a really nice resume. It just took a lot of time. And then I sent out my resume to all the colleges in the area. I don't think there was a single posting on Indeed that I actually found. It was all just me taking the initiative and contacting colleges, okay, universities in New Jersey, because that's where I was based, but also New York City. I didn't want to travel 4 hours for a job, but we'll get to that in a second. And of course, there just was no work, okay, but at a certain point, I did get a little bit of interest, and Union County College, which is a community college in Central Jersey, kind of I would say, rather impoverished area. It's not egregious all the time, but definitely it's not, the wealthiest part of Jersey. Okay, so they needed a teacher for music appreciation. But again, this was not advertised on Indeed. At least I don't recall this being advertised. Okay, so through my hard work, and like me, I got this opportunity. Now, SUNY New Paltz is another place I did adjunct teaching at for like a semester and a half, because I was a substitute at one point, and then I was actually there for a full semester. And that I got through word of mouth. So one of my teachers knew I was looking for work, and I got that position. Okay, so already you're seeing these positions, these adjunct teaching positions, it's like you're trying to get an apartment in Paris. Getting an apartment in Paris is impossible. You have to know someone, okay? But instead of apartment in Paris, where at least, you have culture surrounding you, you instead have these quite meager positions that they're going to offer. We'll get to that in a second. So at SUNY New Paltz, or actually at Union County College, community college in New Jersey, I was offered a position to teach 3 days a week, 3 classes, okay? So basically 9 hours of work. and it was music appreciation. It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it was 3 hours in a row. So basically from 9 to 12. Okay, music appreciation. Now don't ask me what is music appreciation because I don't think anyone knows. Okay, but definitely it was like, okay, this is a good opportunity. It's my first teaching job. Technically, I had started teaching at a summer camp in that summer, but it was super, it wasn't on an ongoing basis at that point. Okay. So I basically was offered 9 hours of work, and I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. Okay. Now the wage was a starvation wage. Okay. So their wage, I'm sure the wages have bumped up a little bit, but that's only because of inflation. That doesn't, cost of living has skyrocketed, so it doesn't count. That doesn't count. You can't say, oh, we bumped up wages. Well, yeah, because wages were falling because the cost of living has gone up. So that doesn't count. You just adjust, that doesn't count. Okay, and they'll try to get you on that. So they offered me a starvation wage, which was $2,000 for the whole semester, okay, for one class, okay? So one class would meet 3 days a week for 1 hour, and I was paid $2,000 spread over the entire semester, okay? $2,000 isn't even enough for rent these days, so you can only imagine what a starvation wage I was subjected to. But of course, they will get you on the starvation wage with what? The propaganda. So they're going to say, oh, well, this is for your experience, just get your foot in the door. Oh, this is for your resume. It's just temporary. Okay. We'll get to that a little bit later. But however, at Union County College, I had 3 classes, okay? So then I got $6,000 spread over an entire semester. Now, that was 9 hours of actual in-classroom work, okay? But as we know, that doesn't correspond to how much work you do. You have to prepare for the class. You have to answer all the emails. You have to do all the administration stuff. So really 9 hours of in-classroom time really for me was like 30 hours of work. 25 to 30 hours of work for a first-time teacher to do a quality job. I think most teachers would agree that's reasonable. Maybe you could do 20 hours out of it, but nevertheless, 9 hours was not actually 9 hours, okay? In addition, at that time, 15 hours a week of in-classroom time was considered full-time, okay? For full-time faculty, 15 hours, which would be 5 classes, assuming there are 3 hours each for the whole class. So 15 hours a week as a teacher at this college were considered full-time. I was doing 9 hours, so I'm over, I'm closer to full-time than part-time, right? But if I'm only making $6,000 for an entire semester, that would be $12,000 for the whole year before taxes, of course. And that's assuming that they even offer a position for the next semester, which they don't always do. Okay, it's a very contract. It's exploitation at its finest, because exploitation at its finest is legal. The best way to exploit someone is to do it legal, because there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? So starvation wages, but I was a young chap, I was excited about life. I was like, okay, this is just to get my foot in the door. Beware of the family and the friends and your professional network, because they will participate in the lies as well. They'll say, oh yeah, it's just to get your foot in the door. It's just to do this. Yeah, but these are starvation wages. These are starvation wages. Okay? So I was fine. Okay, I was excited to just get started. Okay. Now at SUNY New Paltz, I think I started off as just an emergency kind of thing because a teacher had to go on medical leave. So I was just there on a very short basis, 3 weeks, I think. And again, I got that job through word of mouth. Okay. Now they offered $3,000 for the entire semester. So Union County College, community college, was offering $2,000 for entire semester, and SUNY New Paltz was offering $3,000 for the entire semester. However, at SUNY New Paltz, I was first there only as a fill-in, so it wasn't, it was just prorated. Okay. And SUNY New Paltz, I had to drive up to New Paltz, which was about 2 hour to 2.5 hour drive. Okay. But of course, when you're a teacher, if it takes you 2 hours to get somewhere, then you need to leave 3 hours in advance, right? Because you have to anticipate rush hour traffic. You have to anticipate something goes wrong. Okay. It's unacceptable to be late to class as a teacher. It's unacceptable. It's just one of those industries where you can't be late to class. You can't be late to class. All right. But SUNY New Paltz, I was excited to do because this will be working with actual music majors, because at the community college in Jersey, Union County College, it was just an elective. People weren't really interested in what I had to offer. There's a lot I would do differently now, aka not take the position. But nevertheless, it wasn't very satisfying. It's just, it was a lot of work. Lord have mercy. So in SUNY New Paltz, I was a little bit enticed because this would be music majors, people who have an interest in music. In addition, it's a 4-year college, and that's where everyone wants to teach, right? Because the students tend to be more motivated. It's also richer. Okay, 4-year colleges are richer. Okay, and of course, richness often translates to better working conditions. Nevertheless, they were going to pay $3,000 for the whole semester. Okay, so it's a step up. Now, I did have a commute of 2.5 hours. Okay, or 3 hours to factor in the rush hour traffic. And they contributed to gas money for that. Okay, which they should do. At the time, I was grateful. How indignant. I'm not going to be grateful. No. Of course. You better. Okay. Now, first scandal. Did you know that though they graciously paid for my gas, that they have since taken away this stipend for teachers? I was good friends with a full-time professor at SUNY New Paltz, and she informed me that they've since taken away that extra income for the travel. Okay, so what happens when there's budget cuts? Okay, they screw over the adjunct faculty. Okay, and I don't even want to imagine what they do for the janitors and the low positions, as many people see them. Okay, so SUNY New Paltz was more appetizing. Okay, now the first issue I have at SUNY New Paltz took place during the hiring process. So I was just hired off the spot because I was recommended by my teacher. Okay, that's nice. Kid didn't have to audition. We very quickly proceeded to. There wasn't much explanation of the expectations. It was assumed I was a good person, all that. Okay. One quick thing about what I did like is at SUNY New Paltz, they gave me a syllabus already created. They had the course planned, the curriculum planned. They knew the book they wanted. The course was Fundamentals of Music. They even had every day what I'm going to work on. Okay, so because I worked 2 days a week, I worked Tuesdays and Fridays. So they said, okay, the September 14th, this is the subject. September 18th, so it was all planned. And I think that is the way forward for adjunct faculty. Okay, if you can't be bothered to hire a full-time faculty, okay, that at a minimum, when you bring on adjunct faculty, you need to have the course planned. You need to know what's being taught, how it's going to be divided, because they don't have time, okay? Because when you're adjunct faculty, you have to work at other schools, you have to look for work, okay? So I did like this aspect that was already planned. In addition, I don't know the student body. Okay, so how can you create a syllabus, create a course if you have no knowledge of what the students are like? Okay, so they had that plan set in stone. So I was like, okay, that is a huge time saver. Okay, now let's get to the first thing that was wrong. It was wrong, okay? And I hope that, when I say it, you're going to think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. No, it is a big deal, okay? Of course, I didn't know it was wrong at the time. The first thing that was wrong is once the ball was rolling, I had accepted the position in New Paltz. I was doing all the administration, whatever, the email back and forth. Again, that's a huge time suck. So don't forget, when you're an adjunct professor, you're going to do that for every school you're at. All that administration, emailing back and forth, you lose a lot of money that way. So the first thing is the director. I think he was he was a temporary director, but whatever. The director of the music department. Once I accepted the position, had we invested energy, he politely informed me that I'd also have to do 1 hour of office hours. That is treason. That's treason. Okay? That was deceptive. All right. You can't hire someone and then afterwards add a responsibility. Okay. So imagine you hire someone at your hotel. You have a hotel and then, oh, by the way, we also need you to work the kitchen staff. Oh, no. I thought I was doing this job. That's how it was presented to me. So in this case, at City New Paltz, what he did was immoral. I think it was immoral. I don't believe that he probably could say, well, I forgot, bullshit. No. He knew that the offer wasn't very appetizing and he tried to hide the most egregious aspects. Okay. So is 1 hour of office hours the end of the world? Well, it means one less hour that I'm at home with my family, one less hour I can work other institutions. So I would have needed to know that there would be 1 hour of office hours beforehand. Okay? And that's how they get adjunct teachers, is they will add things after the fact. Always after the fact. And of course, what is the divine propaganda that they say? Well, it's included in your responsibilities. And maybe they'll even have you sign a contract that doesn't lay out all the responsibilities, but basically says, well, you're responsible for everything. Okay? That was not okay.